Washington, D.C., the 14th of March, 2025. The clock strikes 8:47 a.m. in Washington, D.C. A cold wind rattles the windows of the State Department. A Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, coffee in hand, scrolls through his phone. His eyes catch a headline from Breitbart News. South African ambassador calls MAGA a supremacist instinct. His grip tightens. Within minutes, his thumbs hammer out a tweet that will echo across continents. Ambassador Ebrahim Rasool's comments are unacceptable. He is no longer welcome in the United States, effective immediately. The diplomatic world freezes.
Expelling an ambassador? That's not just rare. It's a geopolitical slaphead around the globe. But this isn't a spontaneous tantrum. No, it's a breaking point of a storm that's been brewing for decades.
Pretoria, 23rd of March, 2025. Rasool's plane touches down and the tarmac erupts. A sea of South African flags waves furiously as hundreds chant his name.
It was not our choice to come home, but we come home with no regrets.
This expulsion is a badge of dignity, he bellows. We don't grovel. The crowd rose, a mix of pride and defiance pulsing through the air. Back in DC, Rubio smirks at the footage. Dignity? He mutters to an aide. Looks more like a discount rebellion.
But this isn't just one man's story. It's a breaking point of a relationship between two nations that once marched hand in hand out of the shadows of racial segregation. Now, they are clashing over everything. South Africa's ties to Iran, Hamas, its bold moves against Israel at the International Court of Justice, and the land reform policy that's got some in the United States shouting,
Land grab.
So, how did it come to this? How did shared dreams of democracy turn into diplomatic showdowns? Buckle up as we dive into the tangled tale of ambition, ideology, and power. Let's rewind the tape, but maybe before we rewind. Anyway, let's now rewind because the real story starts long before that tweet.
The sun beats down on Union buildings as Nelson Mandela takes the oath as South Africa's first black president. Apartheid's chains are broken and the world watches in awe. Across the Atlantic, President Bill Clinton beams, pledging US support aid, trade, a handshake that says, we're in this together. The 90s are a love story.
But even in those golden years, shadows loom. South Africa has got mind of its own. Mandela, a lion of liberation, backs Palestine, while Clinton pushes Israel-Palestine peace talks. He won't budge on Hamas or Hezbollah groups. US calls terrorists, but he sees them as freedom fighters. Clinton's team grits their teeth, but the aid keeps flowing. The cracks are there, tiny fissures in shiny new bridge. Fast forward to 2025, and that bridge is a crumbling wreck. The expulsion of Rasool isn't just the latest tremor. To understand why it's falling apart, we need to zoom in to the moment the cracks turned into chasms.
Washington, D.C., the 14th of March, 2025. Picture Rasool charismatic, sharp, a diplomat with a poet's tongue sitting in his embassy office in January 2025. He's just handed his credentials to President Biden days before Trump's second inauguration. Fast forward to the 14th of March, he's on a Zoom webinar, South African scholars and activists on the other side dissecting America's political soul. Then it slips out.
Donald Trump is launching an assault on incumbent.
It's analytical, you later claim, just a lens on Trump's base. But Breitbart spins it into a Molotov cocktail.
South African envoy trashes America. The clip goes viral, and Rubio's had enough. He's gone, he tweets, giving Rasool a week to scrum. The 23rd of March, Pretoria Airport. Rasool lands to a hero's welcome. We don't grovel, he shouts, fist high. Supporters mob him, a human shield of pride. Back in DC, a US official whispers, this isn't diplomacy, it's theater.
But was Rasool reckless? Or did he just say what others whispers? Either way, the stage is set for chaos. But what's really driving this drama?
Johannesburg, the 17th of December, 2023.
Rewind to late 23.
South Africa's legal team files a bombshell at the International Court of Justice. Israel's guilty of genocide in Gaza. President Ramaphosa steps to a podium. voice steady. This is a systematic pattern of human rights violations. We can't stay silent. The US recoils. Baseless and reckless, snaps the State Department, Israel's biggest cheerleader.
Then there is BRICS.
At the 2023 summit, South Africa rolls out the red carpet for Iran, Saudi Arabia, and others, turning a five-nation club into a global flex.
It's not just economics. It's, we don't need the West.
The US fumes, seeing Russia and China pulling strings.
And Hamas, South Africa's ANC inks deals with them,
calling it solidarity.
The US calls it terrorism. These aren't side hustles. They are the heart of the rift. South Africa is playing a game of sovereignty. The US wants a loyal pawn. Each move, ICJ, BRICS, Hamas digs the trench deeper. But this is not just policy, it's people. Let's meet one caught in the fallout.
Dr. Nomsa Mbatha stands in her rural clinic, staring at a near-empty medicine cabinet. A doctor who spent a decade fighting HIV with US-funded drugs. But in March 2025, Trump's executive order slashes that aid punishment for South Africa's support for bad actors.
We were making progress.
She says, voice cracking.
Now, patients are dying because I've got no pills.
Her son wants to be a doctor too.
Mom, why'd they stop helping?
He asks. She has no answer. Across South Africa, clinics shatter. Kids drop out, real lives snagged in this diplomatic net. Rubio's unapologetic. No more blank checks for defiance. Ramaphosa fires back. We're sovereign, not your colony.
But sovereignty doesn't fill shelves. Nomsa's story is one of thousands. Proof that this isn't just a boardroom bowl. It's bleeding into homes.
Western Cape, late 2023.
South Africa's got a wound. Apartheid left land. Most of it is still in white hands. Decades after freedom, the government is pushing reform, legal code bag distribution to black farmers. It's messy, slow, but it's their fix. Across the ocean,
US right-wing media screams, land grabs, and white genocide. Trump's 2018 tweet about farm seizures and killings resurfaces, debunked but sticky. By 2025, it's gospel for MAGA. South Africa's livid. This is our history, our justice. The US counters. Property rights matter.
It's twisted. It's a misunderstanding turned weapon. Another brick into the war between them.
Johannesburg, August 2023. The 2023 BRICS Summit is South Africa's moment. Leaders from Brazil, Russia, India, China, and now Iran fill a glitzy hall. Ramaphosa grins. We're the voice of the global south. New members join, trade deals soar, and the message is clear. We're not your backyard.
US watches. Teeth gritted. BRICS isn't just a club. It's a rival bloc with Russia and China flexing muscles. Trump's team dubs it coalition of chaos. South Africa shrugs.
The world is multipolar now. Deal with it.
It's a power play. And the US doesn't forgive. By 2025, they're ready to hit back.
Washington, D.C. Trump's pen scratches across an executive order. US aid to South Africa, health, education, governance, sliced by millions. No more funding bad actors, he declares. Clinics like Nomsa's feel it first. Schools lose books, farmers lose loans. Rubio's on television. South Africa's choices have consequences. Pretoria's defiant. We'll survive without your crumbs.
But whispers leak. China and Russia might step in. At what price? It's a high-stake bluff. And the chips are people's lives. But the biggest blow still coming.
The Hague, December 2023. South Africa's lawyers stride into the ICJ, dossier in hand.
And systematic human rights violations has emboldened Israel in its recurrence and intensification of international crimes in Palestine.
It's a gut punch to the United States. Israel's ride or die. Ramaphosa doubles down.
All of us standing here, pledging our solidarity with the people of Palestine.
The case grinds on, evidence piling up. South Africa's held as moral giant. by others and a rob by others. The United States sees it as a betrayal, a legal jab from a so-called friend. By 2025, trust is ash, but can they turn back? South Africa and the United States stand at a crossroad with three main paths emerging. One possibility is that the two nations drift apart as South Africa increasingly aligns with China and Russia and the broader BRICS group. Another possibility is an escalation of tensions where sanctions tighten, trade diminishes, and the distance between the two nations widen into a barrier of mistrust. And then last, the third option is a chance for renewal, discreet diplomatic talks and gestures of reconciliation, and a carefully negotiated reset, although this outcome remains uncertain. For decades, the United States has acted as a dominant benefactor by providing extensive aid, while South Africa now appears determined to assert its independence and redefine its global partnerships. But here's the kicker. Both sides are misreading the room. The US thinks cutting aid and voting Rasool will whip South Africa into line. Pretoria is not buckling and is stepping down, chest puffed, ready to take the hit. And South Africa is betting on BRICS and moral high ground. But it's underestimating the cost. NOMSA's empty shelves, kids like Sipho losing dreams. But this isn't just a win-win. It's a lose-lose dressed up in a principle. Economic pressure may ultimately force both sides to reconsider their positions. Should South Africa's rand weaken or the US markets suffer due to lost opportunities, financial realities might compel a compromise where diplomacy has failed previously. So, what's the end game? No crystal ball here, but the clock is ticking. 6 months from now, we will see handshakes or headlines about sanctions. Will NOMSA get hammered? Or will Sipho's future fade? This isn't just geopolitical. It's human drama, and we are all on the edge of our seats. And hey, if you did enjoy this video, do hit that like button and subscribe, and see you in the next one. That's one more shot fired. And let me finish my my water. It's actually water.